Okay. All right. Elm and Maple. It's a sesquicentennial neighborhood. I don't know if you knew that. And this is a Champaign's first neighborhood. Wow. Sesquicentennial and the first neighborhood. Okay. This is, we're calling this Spalding Skate Park. Scalding. No, it's not Scalding. It's Spalding. It's not very hot. It is very hot, as in, what a amazing skate park. All right, well, there's a skate park, and it is in this like larger park that you can visit. And yes, you can see the train tracks. So this is kind of an area. Champaign's Champaign-Urbana is a little bit of a. It's got a lot. Like it's like the things that you would expect for a place to have. Like, all right, we'll get into that later. Here's skill space possibly, but this might be private property. I'm guessing it is. You know, one of the things you can do. I don't know if you knew this, but you can go on Google and you can. It's actually kind of hot out here, and I'm surprised that you can hear. That's all that cool air and that water, the cool, chilly water that's going through the storm drain system here. Now we're in a little bit of a depression here. A little bit of the land is kind of going on a slope, and if there had been some moisture at this point, it looks like it might be already kind of cleared out. The grass looks nice and green, and it looks like it's been mowed recently. But yeah, this is kind of an interesting thing. You can go on Google and you can find out what the boundary lines for properties are. If you zoom in, if you go to like this address here, you could find, where the lines are. You know, is the line right here? Is the line? I'm guessing it's this whole thing because who else would be, mowing the lawn? So I'm guessing that this land right here is part of this warehouse. So whatever kind of business is in the warehouse, but it could be that it's not. Does it matter? You know what? Not that much, because just across the street over here is a whole bunch of skill space. It looks like. I mean, barring some craziness, this looks like some really good skill space, and it's got the trees so you can have some shade, and it's got. So here's another one. This is like kind of one. Further down there is one, sort of. So, and here, and here. So all this area here, that's all fine and good and dandy. I'll give a little bit more of a picture of the park before we get into the skate park. See what else is around here. I've been in the skate park before, but I have not been really looking at this area around here. Definitely. Now the other thing about this is that this whole park is connected up with a school, which is somewhere over in this direction, I think. So it's like, I don't think it's school property, but it might be. It certainly is Park District property, I'm guessing. So always keep that stuff in mind. When it's skill space, I mean, parks are pretty much, that's what they're made for. Parks are a skill space, but, when things are school property, it could be a little different, so just be aware of that. Like I said, I always like to keep a barrier between the playgrounds and the skill, so then we could use this, clearly the sidewalk over here provides that. So if you're over here on this side of the playground, then this should all be pretty good. Except the only thing is that, like I said, closer you are to a playground, the higher the chances a kid or a parent's like, "Oh, what's that thing on a string?" referring to your kendama, or, "Oh, juggling, that's cool. Can can you teach me sometime? Which is probably fine. But, oh, I just tripped over something over here. Looks like some kind of, I don't know what that is. Kind of looks gross. So they want you to teach. Anyway, it takes away from your skill time. It interrupts your skill time. So just be aware of that. Like if you tuck yourself back here, your chance of skill time interruption reduces. However, this train line is pretty. I think it's still pretty active. So that might be a factor. If you set up around here, you might have the noise and the rumbling of a train in your midst. Now, we haven't really been this close to a train track. I know they've been in the vicinity in a number of videos, but never. This is kind of unusual to have like a sort of like an open track like this that's just like out here. This is assuming that it's actually still functioning, which I believe it is. Of course, this is going to be train, the property of the train owners, the train track, whether it's the state or a private track or something. So, plus you don't really want to play on the train tracks. Come on. The whole thing about getting your foot stuck in it, it's like, no. And, like watch Stand By Me, I can even hear a train. It's in the distance. A train in the distance. That's quite a tree. So, these are just things to keep in mind. We haven't really talked about this in the past, but like, you will come across like garbage and debris. And I'll tell you something. If you ever start picking up garbage and cleaning up whatever area you are in, you're gonna, like, it's probably just for the best. Sometimes, pardon me, sometimes it seems like, pointless because there's just so much garbage and it's just gonna keep piling up. But sometimes, like in this place, it just seems like, if you went around with a bag and like one of those skewer things and you're like skewering the garbage, and if you and a friend did a couple like garbage pickup half hours or whatever it is, and then if someone might see you and they're like, oh, those guys are really like, they're picking up the garbage, like that's a way to, if you really want to like impress your local scene or whatever, start picking up garbage. That will impress whoever it is. Like if you're trying to find skill space, trying to get skill space like like designated by your by the city council or whatever it is, and you're picking up garbage, yeah, it's gonna help a lot. We've gone over that before, but that's a good one. Picking up the garbage. So, and yeah, it's maybe not too glamorous, but turn on a little music, not too loud, and walk around, pick up some trash, and it's gonna make your skill space better. One way, like at the very least, you're improving your skill space, and or maybe just beyond that area. So if you like a certain space, you try to like keep it clean, no garbage and stuff. Like, I'm sure your local community will appreciate it. And like I said, it might even lead to, down the road, which place we're going, which is, to have a designated skill space in different towns and stuff. I think we're on our way to doing this. So, I'm sure there's some places where it's like they'll just sign up immediately. In other places, it'll take a little time, but so here's the school. That's what I was talking about. This is called Franklin, and this is Spalding Park. So I'm guessing, yeah, this is Champaign Park District. This is these are going to be separate. So whatever rules apply for park district, you can imagine, is going to be just a little bit different than what you'd expect from a school. In this case, I'm trying to see what it says here. Franklin, I think that says, yeah, STEAM Academy, STAM, STEAM Academy. That is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Some places are STEM Academy, but here it's a STEAM Academy for this school. And that just basically, whenever you see the A instead of the STEM, you get the STEAM. It just means that there's more of an emphasis on art in that area, which is actually kind of nice for us skill people, because the skill tends to have like an art component to it. But one of the things to stress too is that it really does have a science, technology, engineering, and math part of it. And that's one of the things you'd be surprised as you get more involved with your skill and your related skills. You'd be surprised. In the juggling community, the IJA is known to have like there's people that are connected with juggling. Let's put it this way: there's people connected with juggling who work for NASA. You may not have guessed it, but guess what? You think that NASA is interested in the motion of objects? You think so? So skill is not just an art, and it's not just a science, technology, engineering, and math. I mean, science, there's lots of science you could do. There's gravity, there's motion. Technology, a lot of the things that we use are basic machines. I'm talking about the 6 basic machines of the ancients. The ancients had a designation of 6 basic machines. They were the let's see if I can do this. They were the wheel. Nope. Let's start with the other one. They were the wedge. There's a wedge. There's also a inclined plane and a lever. So those are 3. The lever, the inclined plane, and the wedge. Then you have the other 3, which are the wheel, the screw, and the pulley. The wheel, the screw, and the pulley. I think I got all 3 there. You can look them up. It's what the ancients